I'm on a mission to help the world to see success differently. Through sharing the stories of our guests, I hope to inspire those that listen. This is the Different Hats podcast, produced by H2 Productions. I hope you can join us on this journey.
I think it is really hard now. You know, we didn't have the social media back then, but it is a really tough. And my husband coaches elite athletes, and you know, I can see them rocking up saying, "Oh God, someone's gone off to training over here and whatever." But I think that is one of the things I had to learn. That, you know, I never came out running the best at the beginning of the year, and it was, you know, it's about believing in the process. But you have to know what that process is, and you can't just rock up. I think that's the other thing I learned. I knew what the process was, I knew what the day was and how I was going to get there, and I think we can't ask that of us every single day. It has to be, you know, that whole thing I always say, clarity in your mind almost of who we want to be and what's important to us, and what, you know, and you know, and just be able to try and block all those things out. But you know, it takes all sorts of things to get there, you know, and I'd be the first to say, you know, I had to learn the hard way. You know, you learn through things going wrong, you learn through, but if I hadn't have done those, you know, losing races and getting injured and all sorts of things, I would never have achieved what I had. And again, it's another process you have to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And then just touching on the other challenges you faced, obviously going on 4 years into 96 as well, into the Atlanta Olympics, obviously pulling up injured sort of in the semi-final. Again, like, I think, was that on your 30th birthday? Was that right?
I think it was. I remember getting very drunk on, some cocktail somewhere or other in Atlanta.
Again, I guess, like you say, the challenges we face on the whole journey, I guess, of whether it be business or whatever, where that they're the lessons we learn, aren't they? And the build up of resilience from those challenges that we face is what makes us stronger, isn't it? To kick back. So talk to me a little bit about that after the semi-final there as well. What was your sort of thought process there?
Yeah, it's interesting because that is probably my low point of my whole career. You know, being, you know, you're reigning Olympic champion and you're getting carried off the track with a, you know, torn Achilles tendon, and you know, but it's interesting now how you quickly erase that from your mind. You know, it's but it is, you know, it made me rethink things. It made me think, do you know what, I didn't want to go out, you know, on that low, but it also made me start to think about what is life looking like after the world of athletics, because you can't do this forever. And I think it, you know, again, it was a horrible point and a really low point, but it made me think about other things, and you know, and start planning what that exit route was, and you know, because it's really hard to know when that day is going to be, but you know, what can I fulfill it with, and what is important to me in life, and what do I want to do in the next chapter almost. So, you know, and I think if I hadn't have gone through that in Atlanta, if, you know, as I said, then I would probably, you know, carried on a little bit too longer, because I did do another couple of years afterwards as I was sorting everything out. But, you know, I think it would have been very different. So, and I think that's one of the things, you know, I'm always things happen for a reason sort of girl, for sure now.
Yeah, no, I truly believe that. I think I'm really keen. Some of the lessons I guess doing the podcast has been eye-opening for me. As I sort of mentioned, it's sort of the 50th episode. I've learned a lot about sort of one of the main things I think for me has been about realizing that life's a journey and not a destination. But I'm really sort of conflict. I'm keen to see, as obviously a high performer, and people even in business journeys, we set ourselves goals and targets, don't we? I'm just keen to see how you, I guess, ensure that you enjoy the process of that journey, whilst you're while you're still searching for that goal. I'm just keen to see your mindset. There's a conflict there sometimes for me. You go, I want to enjoy the process, but I'm trying to get somewhere. But so yeah, I'm keen to see your mindset around that. And
I think knowing what you achieve is a really important part of every day. And I think it was something that Bruce, as a 14-year-old, installed in me. It was one of the first things he said to me: what do you want out of this session today? And I was like, well, aren't you going to tell me? And it wasn't. It was about me thinking and about the process. And I think it's very easy just to rock up to things and not be present and not have a vision in life and know what you want. And and I think it is an important part of my life. And it's, I'm still doing it now. And I am a bit of a list person, but I think it's, they're nowhere near as challenging, the challenges that I have in a certain sort of way. There are lots of different things, but sometimes it is little things. And I think that's where you appreciate what that process is. They don't always have to be massive. And you don't always have to have what that end goal is and it's over here. It's sometimes about what that process is and what does that look like to get there, and appreciating those bits. And I think that's something that I've done more since finishing running, because I think, when I was running, you're massively on this roller coaster. And and I suppose one of the one regrets that I might never have, I'm not sure I ever really celebrated the real highs of being an Olympic champion or a world champion, because you're so scared of failure. You're so scared that you're only ever as good as your last race. You're back on that roller coaster and you're back out there. And I think this next part of my life is I have really tried to appreciate more about, the little things. And, and I sort of regret in some ways that I didn't sort of celebrate those to how I should be. And I think, that as part of what I do at the moment is passing some of those messages on that I learned in those days, but some of the things that, not always the good messages. And I think it is about, however big or small, it's like recognizing, do you know what, sun's out today and I've just been for a run and I feel good. And you've got to go and find that, and I think it's just reaffirming it within yourself. And but at the same time, it is still good to know why I'm getting up this morning. What do I want out of this day? Where do I still want to go? And I think that keeps me sane. It keeps me motivated. And it keeps me, fresh, and, people wanting to be around you, because you do still have a vision and you still have hunger in your life. And I think that's, I'm still looking for that, even at, 50 years old or so. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think, look, again, it's that for me. It's looking at that journey and that process of trying to enjoy it. Like you mentioned there about being present. I think that's something, sometimes we can get lost. I'm guilty of it. I often ask about work-life balance. I've got twins who are 7, want to be present with them at the time, but your mind is sometimes off elsewhere, because you've got these goals that you're trying to obtain. And again, one thing I try to check in with myself a lot is around just being present wherever I am at that moment. So for example, I'm here with you right now and this is where we are, and we're concentrating on this moment. And then when I am at home with the kids later, I am there not looking at my phone but trying to be present. And because that joy, that process in those journeys more so, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's really important to do that. And I think, you have to recognize that within yourself, and and check, because it is always quite easy. You think, right, I'm back with the kids or whatever else. And, and now I've got a phone call, I've got to do that. And there is, sometimes you have to say stop. And sometimes you go, okay, this is it. But, I think the other thing I learned is that, don't beat yourself up, because not every day is like that. And I think back to, there was, quite a few, I don't know, school plays that I might have missed or something like that, and I couldn't be there for, or the kids were ill and I had to, to be somewhere or whatever. And it's hard. And I think the thing over the time is that I've just thought, you know what, you can't be perfect and you can't keep up with this, and you are going to have the good days and the bad days, and just don't beat yourself up too much. I think that's what it is. And I look at my 3 boys now, they're 17, and the youngest, and the eldest is 24, and I think, do you know what, they've done all right. So we couldn't be too bad what we did.
Well, I want to stick with the achieving goals conversation just around, because again I've spoke to a few entrepreneurs and on here, and they've talked about that moment where some people have sold a business for like 100 million, for example, and they've got that expecting potentially that big euphoria moment, and it's actually become a little bit of an anticlimax. And like I say, stuff we're sort of constantly searching for. I'm just keen to that moment you stood on that rostrum, you obviously achieved all your dreams, you become Olympic champion. Talk to me a little bit about that. Was it all your dreams have come true and you felt that amazing moment, or talk to me a little bit about your mindset around that at that time?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think, actually achieving it and to stand it, I mean, it all felt like a little dream world because you couldn't quite actually believe that you'd done it. I think the hardest bit was the bit afterwards because, I'd done that whole visualization piece, I'd done the standing on the rostrum and what that was going to feel like. But the bit I hadn't done is, what happens afterwards and what to expect. And I think it was hard because I wasn't quite sure, was I doing the right thing, because you're sort of compelled into this life that you don't really know, and am I doing it right, am I doing it wrong? And then again we've got to go again because we've got the Worlds the next year, so it was like that. Okay, so we can't go out, we can't celebrate, and we can't do this. I just yeah, I thought it was going to be, life changing and sorted everything out, and here we go. But no, and I can really relate to probably a lot of those entrepreneurs in that it is okay. So we've done that, but we've still got to go and do it again. There's still more. It's not like we're just sitting back and it's like, oh, see you later, everybody. Yeah, and I think you want more because you like that feeling. You want to challenge how good I could actually be. It's almost giving you a bit more confidence, and you sort of think, well, actually I can go a bit better, or I can go again, or whatever else. So yeah, and I guess that's who we are, that's our nature. And I think you can find that, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, I think if anything now, as I said, I think I wish I'd sort of taken a month off and just celebrated a bit and reflected it. But it was alien to me. I didn't know that world. You thrusted into it, and everybody's looking at what you're eating in your trolley. You know what I mean, at the supermarket, and it's like peering through your window. So I don't think anybody could really have prepared me for that. But it was quite scary and a bit daunting, and it was a bit like, okay, I've got to do this not just for me but for everybody else now. And I think that's how I felt almost. And come on, pull your socks up and get back out there.
Yeah, sure. And I guess, like, again, talking again as I often do about, I guess there's that feeling of contentment and fulfillment potentially, which is actually what we sort of search for, I guess. And sometimes fixing that on a goal, that's where I'm going to feel fulfilled, and as soon as I get there, that everything's okay. Actually, potentially, it's not. And again, back to what I guess we was alluding to initially, was trying to enjoy that process, and like you said, celebrating those small wins on a regular.
But also, I think it's about and sometimes we might not achieve those goals, but we've given ourselves a go and we've given ourselves the best shot. And I think, and I think that was one of the ways that I dealt with that sort of pressure of, because if I thought about what I was actually trying to go and do, win an Olympic gold medal, I probably wouldn't have done it. But I think how I sort of rationalized it in my mind was that, do you know what? I've prepared, we've done everything. Can only ever do your best that you can do. And if that's good enough on the day, then fine. If it's not, that's still the best version of you on that day, and be proud of it. And I think that's important as well, because we don't always succeed in everything that we do, but we have rocked up, we've prepared ourselves, we've given it the best shot, and I think that is really important to know that we've done that.